In this video, I'm going to discuss percent. And this is the percent symbol. Now, what I'm going to discuss basically is how to find a certain percent of a number. Let's say you have the number 100. If you wanted to find 10% of that number, all you'd have to do is move your decimal point one place to the left, and then you would find out how much was 10% of a number. In the case of 100, 10% of 100 is 10. Okay? Now let's say we have 20% of a number. Well, it's going to be 20 or 2/10 or 1/5. Okay? Anyway, as I was talking about previously, if you have the number 100, if you move the decimal point one place to the left, that 10 is going to be 10% of 100. Okay? Now let's say you wanted to find 1% of 100. Well, then you'd move your decimal point two places to the left, and then you have 1% of 100, which would be 1. Believe it or not, 1 is 1% of 100. 10 is 10% of 100. Now this all becomes very useful when you're trying to calculate other things. Like say you wanted to find 44% of a number. Let's say 44% of 100. Okay. Now we know that 10% of 100 is 10. Now if you take that 10 and you multiply it by 4, you'll get 40. Okay? So we now know that 40% of 100 is 40. Alright? Now, but that doesn't answer what is 44% of 100. Well, let's find out how much 1% of 100 is. Well, 1% of 100, as we said before, is 1. So now, we have 40% of 100, which is 40, because 10 times 4 is 40. And now we have 1% of 100, which is 1. Okay? Now, if we take that 1 times 4, we're actually going to have 4% of 100. Well, 40% of a number plus 4% of a number is 44% of a number. So 40 plus 4 is 44. And 44 is 44% of 100. And that's where the 10% and the 1% becomes very useful. Also remember that 5% of 100, that's right, 5% of 100 is actually half of 10% of 100. So what I'm saying here is that if 10% of 100, which obviously it is, 10% of 100 is 10. If you divide 10 by 5, or actually by 2, sorry, if you divide 10 by 2, you'll get 5. And 5 is 5% of 100. Okay? So 10% of 100 is 10, 5% of 100 is 5, 1% of 100 is 1. Okay? And knowing all these little facts can make it very easy to figure out how much of a percent of a number is another number. Okay? Hopefully you understood all this. I will go over this one more time to make sure you understand. Alright. We said that 10% of 100 is 10. So if you wanted to find 40% of a number, you would take that 10 times 4, and you would get 40% of 100, which would be 40. 1% of 100 is 1. So therefore, if we take that 1 times 4, we get 4% of 100, which actually equals 4. Well, 40 plus 4 is 44, so 44 is 44% of 100. And hopefully that cleared everything up for you. You can use this on any percent that you want. Alright? If you have any questions, just feel free to drop a comment right under my page, and I'll happily answer. I will talk about more mathematical computer terms in a future video, so stay tuned.